Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event lead, Julie Pizzioli, American Cancer Society Senior Development Manager, and Ed Zapian, Lead of Logistics at American Cancer Society. Hi. Hello. And it reads, whereas the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer program is the largest network of breast cancer awareness events in the nation, uniting communities with a shared determination in the fight to end breast cancer. Funds raised through Making Strides Against Breast Cancer enable the American Cancer Society to save lives from breast cancer by funding groundbreaking breast cancer research, providing free, comprehensive information and support to those touched by breast cancer, and helping people reduce their breast cancer risk or find it early when it's likely more treatable. And whereas participants of Making Strides Against Breast Cancer joined together to celebrate breast cancer survivors, pay tribute to those lost to the disease, and raise funds to end breast cancer once and for all. Now, therefore, I, Eunice Emilua, Mayor of the City of Chino, do hereby proclaim October 5th, 2024 as Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Day in the City of Chino, and encourage citizens to help save lives from breast cancer by participating in the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer 5K walk at Chino City Hall on October 5th, 2024. Janet?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Eunice. We are so honored to be here and be partnered with the City of Chino. Chino, as I look through this room, I know so many of you individuals, businesses. I mean, it's amazing. The city has backed us for 22 years for American Cancer Society, 20 years with Relay for Life, and we're in our second year of Making Strides, and we hope this will be a very long endeavor. It's still time to join us for Saturday. Come out and participate. You can walk, register. It's not too late to make a donation, and we'd just love to have you all there. Even if you can't walk, come show your support. But on behalf of American Cancer Society and Making Strides, we are genuinely grateful to all of you for your city's support. And it's just amazing how much you've rolled out the pink carpet this year. And it's our second year, and we hope to just grow this every year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. And she says it perfect. I can't thank you enough for everything that you and the city have done. And thank you to all the businesses and everyone who supported. So thank you. Do you have anything to say? No?
Well, we want to thank you very much. I mean, we have been partners for many years now, and I hope that continues for a long, long time.
Absolutely.
Let's give them a hand. See you Saturday.
Yes, we'll see.
Thank you. Okay, in addition to this proclamation, I'd like to highlight another way our city is getting involved this month. Starting October 1st and throughout the month, you'll see members of our Chino Police Department proudly wearing commemorative pink patches on their uniforms to raise awareness for breast cancer. These patches are available for purchase, and all proceeds will go to the Loma Linda Cancer Care Center to support breast cancer research and treatment. The patches come in two designs, priced at $10 each, and shirts from last year's campaign are available at $20. Patches can be purchased at the police department front counter or at upcoming events, and shirts will be available at events only while supplies last. We're proud of our community's commitment to this cause, and I encourage everyone to get involved in supporting breast cancer awareness this month. Let's see. Do you guys have pink patches tonight? You want to come up, Nick, and show them?
Yes, hello, everyone. The patches actually went on sale today. We'll have them available at the front counter. They are $10 a piece, and they'll also be at select events throughout the city. We accept Venmo and cash for them, and all of the proceeds actually go to Loma Linda Cancer Research Center. Last year, we were able to donate $5,000. So this year, we're trying to beat that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Nick. Okay, next we have a proclamation for Emergency Nurses Week, October 6th through the 12th. I'd like to call up Marie Christine Yusof Alves, Director of Emergency Services at Chino Valley Medical Center, and Gail Aviato, CEO of Chino Valley Medical Center. And group.
Yes, these are two of our nurses, our clinical supervisor
Oh,
in the
terrific.
emergency room.
Great, I'll have you introduce them.
Thank you.
And the proclamation reads, whereas there are approximately 167,000 emergency nurses in the United States who have expertise in caring for all emergency patients across the spectrum of lifespan, ushering life in at birth and allowing for a dignified death. Emergency nurses are highly trained to recognize life-threatening problems and solve them on the spot, playing a vital role in treating patients in emergency situations, caring for those most in need, and saving lives on a daily basis. Emergency nurses continue to stand strong no matter the challenges they face or the difficult situations that are brought to them. These characteristics provide a broad scope of practice for the delivery of critical and complex care within a limited time frame to healthcare consumers of all ages and backgrounds. Emergency nurses integrate critical thinking skills and knowledge of evidence-based practice into their delivery of care and decision-making. And whereas through research, education, and emergency nursing advocacy, the Emergency Nurses Association supports and honors the advancement of professionalism of emergency nurses everywhere. ENA, the ENA Foundation, and other groups around the country have joined together to honor the extraordinary acts of service, compassion, and commitment that emergency nurses provide to patients every day. Now, therefore, I, Eunice Emiloa, Mayor of the City of Chino, do hereby proclaim October 6th through the 12th, 2024 as Emergency Nurses Week in the City of Chino, and invite all citizens to duly note this occasion.
Thank you, Mayor Olova. Thank you to all the members of the City Council. My heart cannot contain the joy that I am feeling right now to recognize, the unsung heroes in the emergency room who not just during COVID and up to this day have been continuously serving our community. I wanted to introduce the two nurses that are here with me. Ahmed Qasim is one of our clinical supervisor in the daytime, and he's been with Chino, I'd say, since Jurassic Park age, but it truly has been working in the emergency room. Everybody affectionately call him Grandpa for those that comes into the emergency room. And also Amanda Nelson, one of our clinical supervisor at night, who's also been with us for almost 10 years now. And, our fearless leader, Gail Aviado, our Chief Executive Officer, who has been very supportive of everything that we do in the emergency room. One of the things that I'm so happy to report is that I have hired many of our local new grads that are in our community that have gone through a 12-week of training, orientation, completion of not just hands-on training, but also they have attended a critical care course to help them deliver competent and confident care in the emergency room. And we will continue to do so. And I truly am very blessed to be part of this community. I am local as well, and I would continue to serve this community. And thank you for acknowledging the hard work of our nurses.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, I'll tell you, having had to visit emergency rooms every once in a while, it is so important to have compassionate nurses there. I mean, the doctors are so busy, but the ones that really touch your heart when you're there are the nurses, because they're the ones that really spend the most time with you. So thank you very much for your dedication. And I don't know, maybe I've been here as long as you, maybe I'm part of the Jurassic part as well.
35 years.
Oh, I got you beat. I'm pre-Jurassic Park. Thank you all very much. She's going to get a picture. Thank you.
Thank you.
I always say older than dirt. I like the Jurassic Park part. Okay, next, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I'd like to call up Carrie Franco, City of Chino Community Services Parks and Recreation Supervisor, Pat Bell, House of Ruth Executive Director, CEO, and Rhonda Beltran, House of Ruth Chief Development Officer. Whereas 41% of women and 26% of men have experienced contact sexual violence, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime and reported a related impact. And whereas domestic violence is not confined to a group or groups of people, but crosses all economic, racial, gender, educational, religious, and societal barriers, and is sustained by societal indifference. The crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and/or abuse. About 16 million women and 11 million men who reported experiencing intimate partner violence in their lifetime said that they first experienced it before the age of 18. The victims of violence should have access to medical and legal services, counseling, transitional housing, and other supportive services so they can escape the cycle of abuse. The House of Ruth provides life-saving domestic violence services for residents of Los Angeles and San Bernardino counties. The City of Chino works closely with the County of San Bernardino to offer Choices Batterers Treatment, a court-mandated program to help individuals identify and manage anger issues. And whereas the City of Chino is committed to working in partnership to increase public awareness of domestic violence and to eliminate it through prevention and education, now therefore I, Eunice Emiloa, Mayor of the City of Chino, do hereby proclaim October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month and urge all citizens to work toward the elimination of domestic violence in our community. I'll give you this one. And then Senator Rubio was not able to be here this evening, but she did submit a certificate for you from the Senate. On behalf of the California State Senate, it's my honor to recognize the City of Chino for recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Your efforts in bringing awareness to the issue of domestic violence has had an incredible impact on the well-being of our communities. She applauds our dedication and commitment to survivors and families. I'll go ahead and present with this to you guys as well. And Carrie?
Mayor Yaloa, members of the council, thank you again for recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. As you can hear from the statistics, this domestic violence spans across all spectrums, all demographics. At Chino Human Services, we do offer, like the mayor said, our court-mandated batterers intervention programs for men. We additionally receive police department referrals for victims who've experienced domestic violence so that we can reach out and offer case management and counseling services to them. It's my pleasure this evening to pass the mic to House of Ruth representatives, an organization we work closely with to help with our clients.
Thank you very much. It's always an honor to come back to our favorite city of Chino. We've been partners with you for more years than I can count, and we're just extremely appreciative of the support. Domestic Violence Awareness Month is a time for us to lift up awareness of the continued crisis that we have. And I heard mention when you were reading the proclamation, the work that we need to do to help those that are experiencing abusive relationships before they're 18 years old. We spend a lot of time working with youth to educate on healthy relationships and understanding what the warning flags are with dating violence, hopefully to eradicate, violence that they may grow up into as adults. So we're very appreciative to always have you, and we've received phone calls from you when your folks are in need of support and help, and we're grateful to have the partnership. So thank you.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you. Good. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, years and years and years ago, pre my husband, I was also a victim of violence. And people will say, well, I don't understand why you don't just walk away or get out of it. it's interesting the mind control that someone can have over you. And even though they say, well, get a restraining order, just the thought that that person might come back in your life is frightening. So if you know of somebody or suspect that someone is going through any kind of a domestic violence, you really need to reach out and help them, because sometimes they need that extra boost knowing someone's by their side to help them. So House of Ruth is absolutely wonderful. They have a beautiful facility in Pomona that I was very lucky to take a tour of after a car crashed into it, and they rebuilt it. So they suffered violence too, but not domestic violence. Anyway, thank you very much, ladies, for being here. Okay, next we have Community Planning Month. I'd like to call up our Chino Planning Commissioners. We have several that are here this evening. Hi, Jimmy.
How are you? Good evening. Thank you for having us.
Whereas change is constant and affects all cities, towns, suburbs, counties, rural areas, and other places, community planning and plans can help manage this change in a way that provides better choices for how people work and live. Community planning provides an opportunity for all residents to be meaningfully involved in making choices that determine the future of their community. The full benefits of planning require public officials and citizens who understand, support, and demand excellence in planning and plan implementation. The month of October is designated as National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America and its territories. The American Planning Association and its professional institute, the American Institute of Certified Planners, endorse National Community Planning Month as an opportunity to highlight the contributions sound planning and plan implementation make to the quality of our settlements and environment. The celebration of National Community Planning Month gives us the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of the members of the Chino Planning Commission and other citizen planners who have contributed their time and expertise to the improvement of the city of Chino. And whereas we recognize the many valuable contributions made by the professional city planners of the city of Chino and extend our heartfelt thanks for the continued commitment to public service by these professionals. Now, therefore, I, Eunice Emiloa, Mayor of the city of Chino, do hereby proclaim October 2024 as Community Planning Month, and we present this the first day of October. Jimmy, would you like to introduce the commission?
Thank you, Mayor. This is the city where everything grows, Chino, obviously. But with that, you need people to nourish it and to plow the ground. Obviously, we have a great city council, Mayor. We appreciate you guys bestowing us this right to be able to serve our city. To my left, I have our Vice Chair, Fraga. Also, we have Commissioner Lopez, Commissioner Lewis, Commissioner Cisneros, and Commissioner Vieira. Not only we're here, and also our council's here, we also have one of our head planners, two of our head planners, Andrea and Goran Moreno. Can we get an applause for them also? They give us, yes. If you could please come up. The mayor said if you guys could come up. Thank you. Thank you. At home, we have Mike, we also have Kim and Maria, we have a few other planners, Brian also, but it's a team effort. The main aspect of the team, obviously, as we all know, is our citizens, our residents. So I like to invite our citizens and our residents to our meetings. It's a third Wednesday on 6 o'clock in these council chambers. And from us, all of us, we appreciate your support. Thank you. We are missing one. I appreciate that. And he's the senior statesman. He's the legend, Brandon Blanchard, the great Brandon Blanchard. Jurassic Park. But you're the number one Jurassic Park, and we appreciate you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much.
The mayor asked that, so we had to do it. Okay, we have to oblige.
A little bit.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all for
Thank you
coming.
for everything. We
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. Thank you.
Well done. When it's to go, Fries Clubby, well done.
We're done? That's it. That was it. If you don't recognize him, Jimmy's one of the owners of Super Chili Burger, and if you go there, he will talk your ear off. So you have to tell him, okay, go. It's time to go. Oh. Okay. We had closed session prior to the council meeting. I'd like to ask our city attorney to give us a report out of any action that was taken.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council, and all those present. As the council announced, there was a closed session discussion on the items listed on the closed session portion of the agenda, beginning with the first item, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, the matter of Deborah Williams versus City of Chino. City Council received an update, provided direction, and no further reportable action was taken. And item number 2, conference with legal counsel, 2 items of anticipated litigation under the heading initiation of litigation with representatives of Matt Silver's office there. City Council received an update, provided direction, and no further reportable action was taken. That concludes the report.
Okay, thank you. City Manager Wright, do we have any agenda additions or revisions?
No changes, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next, under public announcements, kick off the holiday or Halloween season with us at the Pumpkin Garden Festival on Saturday, October 19th from 9 a.m. to noon at the Chino Community Garden, located at 5976 Riverside Drive. Hosted by Healthy Chino, this event will feature pumpkin carving, garden workshops, crafts, raffles, and much more. Don't forget to bring your own pumpkin and enjoy a day of fun in the garden. Registration is free, but space is limited. Be sure to sign up today by visiting www.cityofchino.org/healthychino. Mark your calendars for our residential community cleanup on Saturday, October 26th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 13793 Redwood Street. This is your chance to dispose of unwanted household goods such as furniture, appliance, and electronics, completely free of charge. Please note proof of Chino residency, such as a California ID or a driver's license, and a utility bill is required. Remember to bring help for unloading your items. Please note that hazardous and business waste will not be accepted here, but you can drop off hazardous waste on the second and fourth Saturdays of each month at the Public Works Services Yard from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Get there early.
Get there early, yeah, because it's always crowded. And finally, join us for a frightfully fun night at this year's Halloween Spooktacular on Thursday, October 31st from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Ruben S. Ayala Park, located at 14225 Central Avenue on fields 11, 12, 13, and 14. We'll have candy, games, carnival rides, spooky entertainment for all ages. The night will also include hot air balloons, crafts, giveaways, and a kids' costume contest. For more information, please visit www.cityofchino.org/Halloween. Next, we have public comments. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the council on items that do not appear elsewhere. I will go through the written request to speak first and then call on anyone who has not filled out a comment sheet. Our first request to speak is Pastor Danny Unterkoffler. He's from Cross Point Church. He's going to lead us in an invocation. I invite all of you who would like to join us to please stand.
I'd like to open by reading from Psalm 9, a few verses. It says this: "The Lord reigns forever. He has established his throne for judgment. He rules the world in righteousness and judges the peoples with equity. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. Those who know your name trust in you, for you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you." Let's pray together. Father, we recognize that you are the creator and sustainer of all things, and that you care deeply for each and every person who's been made in your image. Give us that same care and love for one another. We come seeking your wisdom, discernment, and guidance on behalf of the city of Chino. We thank you for the jobs, homes, and places of business that are thriving right now. We thank you for our emergency and health services, that they are caring for the well-being of our people. We thank you for those who willingly serve this city and sacrifice for the needs of others. God, you've been so faithful to this city, and we praise you for that. But we also recognize that there are many who are struggling right now. We pray for those who lack finances, who need jobs, who are sick, and those who feel no hope. May we help to be a refuge for those people and to show them how loved and valued they are. We pray for the future of Chino, for this community, that it would thrive and be a blessing to all who live here. May we be a city that is known for our care for one another and for our willingness to sacrifice for our neighbor. Grant this body your wisdom as they navigate the needs and opportunities that come before them tonight. May they be wise stewards of the resources given to them, and may you bring unity as they discuss the topics on the agenda. God, we thank you for your promise to never forsake those who seek you. We know that you are with us, and we believe that you are good. We pray all this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor. Next written request to speak is Melissa Campani from Supervisor Hagman's office.
Well, good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, and of course, community members. I have come here tonight to invite our community to Supervisor Hagman's wonderful event. It's going to be a Veteran Claims and Resource event. This is an event that he has had before. It's very nice. It's going to be in our local district office in Chino Hills. I will leave the address for you before I go. But this is going to be a little bit different. We're actually hosting this on a Saturday. I know that this has previously been done on weekdays, and we are trying to serve some of our other veterans who haven't had a chance, if they are perhaps working or what have you. So this will be on November the 2nd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So county veteran service officers can answer questions about existing claims, conduct benefit assessment interviews, complete claim forms and paperwork, issue San Bernardino County military veteran ID cards, and help file compensation claims. They will need, however, you to bring your DD Form 214. All services are provided free of charge. We're going to provide some snacks. It's always a good time to get together to talk to fellow veterans. We notice that everyone has a good time in addition to getting some help. The location will be Supervisor Hagman's district office at 14010 City Center Drive, and that is in Chino Hills. Pre-registration is required, so I have a phone number for you. It's area code 909-465-5265. That's the district office phone number directly. And if you can ask for Michael or Suzette, it's helpful. If you don't remember, that's okay. Just let us know you're trying to respond. We want to make sure that we have enough people to assist our veterans. We don't want to keep everybody waiting. So that is coming up in 1 month, and I know it's advance notice, but please share this information. It's a very worthy event, and we want to make sure that our veterans get some help rather than have to drive out to Rancho or what have you. Many people are not comfortable with that. So let us help you right here in Chino Hills. And I've left some flyers, and I have some more to...
Chino.
I'm sorry, you're right. You are so right, Mayor. I spend most of my time here. Okay, I do have another little did you know fact, because I found this quite interesting today, and this has actually happened in the city of Upland, sorry, but that was Supervisor Hagman's recent shredding event. And I just happened to have the numbers because it is kind of interesting on how many people were helped last Saturday. There were 2 trucks available for shredding, and they had a total of 13,540 pounds of paper that were turned in. That is over 6.5 tons of people's private information that we were able to help get rid of so that, there's less crime and theft. So that's always, thank you for your assistance when we have that event here in Chino. It's always just as popular. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Linda, can we put the veterans' information on our website? Melissa, be sure to give the information to staff, and we'll put that on our website. Next written request to speak is Joanne Guinness. She wants to speak on Prop 36. Joanne?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, audience. My name is Joanne Jennis, and I'm a nearby neighbor from Chino Hills. I'm here to thank the council for voting in favor of Prop 36, and you'll understand why after I finish my speech. My son is 29 years old, a meth drug addict, been living under a bridge for 2 years now, struggles with ADHD and Asperger's, and continues to refuse any help from the different agencies, HOPE and SWAG outreach teams. Between the long-term use of meth and the effects of living on the streets, he's showing signs of mental deficits. These deficits aren't severe enough to meet the guideline requirements for Laura's Law or CARE Act. He's also not considered gravely disabled because he's still eating and drinking. Since July 2023, a little over a year now, he's been arrested 21 times for possession of a controlled substance and drug paraphernalia. Each time has resulted in him being cited and released after a few hours in jail, and then he walks 19 miles back to an encampment to use more drugs. Actually, one of those 21 arrests that took place a couple weeks ago was not for possession, but it was due to him being under the influence and starting a fire under the bridge, which was a bit alarming to hear. We believe he lit the fire to try and stay warm. Again, he was cited and released. His crimes have been considered low-level misdemeanor offenses because of our current law, Prop 47. He now knows what he can get away with. There's no accountability, nothing being accomplished, and no consequences. So how do you help these broken homeless drug addicts get off the streets when they continue to refuse help, don't meet the criteria for the mental health programs, and keep going through our criminal justice system's revolving door? Prop 36, if it passes, could be that magic bullet. Basically, it would force my son and others like him to choose between a mandatory rehab or be incarcerated, if arrested for the third time for possession of a controlled substance. Rehab would be a wiser choice, but whatever my son chooses, it will be better than him living on the streets with a chance of him overdosing again. He survived an overdose of fentanyl in 2021 because of Narcan being administered. At this time, and to the best of my knowledge, I don't see any other way or programs that are available to get my sons off the street, even though I'm working with DBH. We had to appear in front of a judge to request an extension on the restraining order we had on our son because the meth makes you kind of go crazy. The judge made the comment of, "That's a problem we're having," after we explained the numerous arrests and how he was just cited and released each time. That judge sees a problem with the system. I want to thank the city and Chief Menson. They gave a very well presentation of Prop 36. So, not sure where the road will lead for my son, but I just keep praying he chooses that right road. Just think about it when you see that Prop 36 on your ballot and who it might help and save some lives. Thank you for your time.
Well, Joanne, thank you for being here. We're very hopeful that Prop 36 will pass. I was a bit disturbed when I read the voters' pamphlet that came out. The cons say that there will be no changes, which is misleading at best. I'd like to take an opportunity to ask Nick to come up and review a little bit about Prop 36. I know you're not prepared for it, but.
So we've actually been in communication, the chief and I, with her, and right now there's not a lot of consequences. So like she mentioned, her son's been arrested 21 times in the past year on misdemeanor citations where he's either released in the field or he's booked in a county jail and released 8 hours later. The advocate for Prop 36 for her son is that he's going to be held accountable. He's either going to have to choose drug treatment and get rehabilitation that's ordered by the court, or he's going to have to face the consequences of actually spending time in jail. So we just wanted to educate the public on Prop 36, and she's not the only one with this story. There's a lot of other people going through the same exact thing.
Sadly, there are too many people going through it, and knowing there's no consequences, there's no incentive for them to change.
That's correct.
I know our governor right now is trying to shut down as many prisons and jails as possible to save money, but what it's doing is causing deaths and destruction of life. So, if we need to beef up the prisons and the jails, and that's what we need to do, but we need to get these people help. So I would plead to the public to please vote yes on Prop 36. I think it's very critical that we help this community that is so devastated by drugs. Thank you,
Mayor.
Nick. And Joanne, thank you for coming this evening. Those are the only written requests I have to speak. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council on any item that is not on the agenda?
Good evening, Mayor and city members, leaders. Make myself accountable real quick. My family lived in Highland, so.
Michael, you need to give us your name.
Michael Gales. My name is Michael Gales, and I live in the city of Chino, what a great city. And Mayor, make myself accountable. My family live in the city of Highland, so I've been helping out with the fires and everything, and they had to get a new house and everything. And they actually live right where the fire started, so the sheriffs came in and said, you guys got to go. So that's where I've been helping out with the city of Fontana too and everything. And I'm very concerned. I live on Riverside in Benson, and we've been having a lot of theft across the street at the laundromat, at the pawn shop, at the Boost Mobile. And it's my concern. They actually broke in my Escalade, and I said, wow, I don't know how y'all got in there. I keep everything locked. And they got in there and they stole some things out of there, and I'm really hoping that we get some more patrol right across the street and everything. They broke into the Boost Mobile store too, and the laundromat, and this gets terrible and everything. And I said, wow, this is not good. Another concern, what I'm really concerned about, I'm seeing a lot of trucks park over there, and I say, this is not no truck stop. You can take your truck and you can actually park it somewhere in Fontana or something. And it's a lot going on right there. And I said, I get up very early. I look. I'll be at the donut shop and I walk around the city all day sometime, and I really observe things. And I want to send a shout out to the public. Let's see. Here it is right here. Yeah, there he is right there with the glasses. You guys are doing a great job of having the trees cut down and everything, and that way it won't blind the lights. I see him at Dell talking like every other day, getting some food and everything. You know who I'm talking to.
Oh, my God.
And I wanted to send a shout out to the chief, too. Thank you, Chief. Thank you for really protecting the city and keeping the city safe and everything. And much praise to the city of council. You guys are doing a great job. I'm really serious. I look at the leadership and I read a lot of stuff, what you guys been doing. And I see one of the other council members at the Circle K getting soda pops and stuff. And I say, wow, go ahead and get it, man. You good to go and everything. So I really appreciate the leadership and everything. I really honor you guys for just really being there for me and everything. You know, I grew up in a very violent home, and I was very disturbed when I heard about violence. I don't like it. It's not good. I guess I had a good dear friend who got murdered in Pomona, right on West Hope. They found her body at 641. And I said, wow, very disturbed, very disturbed. She was on drugs too, and I always talked to her, and I said, wow, it's not the way to live. So you can go get help. The help is out there. I had a good dear friend that he was being very angry, and I said, I got something for you. And I took him right across the street at the council building, and he's actually getting help. He's been there for actually 4 weeks. He's a better person. I said, man, you got your anger under control now and everything. And so there's help. There's help. Everything grow in the city of Chino. And if you have an issue with violence, please render. We will render service to you guys to go across the street and get help and everything. And thank y'all so much for y'all leadership. I missed you guys for a little over a month, and I make myself accountable to y'all. I guess been real busy and everything. And thank y'all so much. Keep up the good work, Mayor, City Council leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address the council on any item that's not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, then we'll move on to the consent calendar. Do any council members wish to have any items pulled for a separate action? Seeing none, then we need a motion and a second for the entire items 1 through 10. Have a motion from Councilman Burton, second from Councilman Lucio. Please vote. Items passes unanimously. Item number 11 under new business, introduction of ordinance number 2024-009, amending chapter 8.80 of the Chino Municipal Code to address changes in law. This is to approve the introduction of the ordinance amending our municipal code, which is health and safety, to address changes in the law brought on about the City of Grants Pass, Oregon versus Johnson et al. Staff report this evening will be provided by our prosecuting attorney, Matt Silver, and our Deputy Director of Development Services, Chris Corbin. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council, thank you as always for having us. Tonight we're talking about an update for the Council's consideration to Chapter 880, which regulates health and safety issues within the city. These are quality of life safety issues in the city. What we're bringing to the Council today is an ordinance for the Council to consider to update the municipal code to comply with a recent change in federal law and state law. As you may have heard, the U.S. Supreme Court in the summertime ruled that cities can regulate public camping. So this is folks that are living in our public spaces, that are living on sidewalks, in parks, other places intended for the public. Generally, these are our homeless or unhoused neighbors. And previously, in 2019, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals held in a case called Boise out of Idaho that cities must first offer practically available shelter before they could enforce their anti-camping laws. Over time, this ended up creating a lot of obstacles for cities because sometimes there simply weren't places to go. The court in that case didn't define what practically available shelter even meant. Over time, that definition became more and more limited by the courts. There was a lot of litigation that ensued where cities tried to figure out what does practically available shelter mean, such that we can enforce our laws if someone declines shelter. A lot of people accept shelter, and then it's no longer an issue. We get them into a system. That is our goal. Our goal is, of course, problem solving. One of my roles as a city prosecutor, which is an honor to serve in this city, is problem solving. These aren't punitive laws. We're trying to find homes, mental health care, alcohol, drug treatment for folks like one of our speaker's sons here. It breaks my heart to hear her talk about her son's situation, because for years, frankly, the law has tied our hands in our ability to help with these issues. Sorry, I'm getting a little choked up by that. But in any event, the city did a really great job here in Chino finding shelter and places for people to go. But there are folks who are service resistant sometimes, folks who, for whatever reason, it could be a mental health issue, lack of lucidity to make these decisions, could be other reasons, decline these services. In the summer, the Supreme Court reversed the Ninth Circuit, determined that cities do not have to offer shelter. It doesn't mean that we won't. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't. We still will. That is, of course, the plan. We'll keep doing business as usual here because it's been successful in Chino. I can tell you, in working with the city for 12 years, I've had one case involving public camping and homelessness because our police department, our community development, our outreach does such an amazing job dealing with our neighbors on the streets. But there have been instances like the one where the person refused service. This ordinance would not require the city to go through the process of offering shelter, although the city is certainly able to do so, and I'm confident we'll still do that. Again, our goal in cases in which someone is not accepting shelter is to now use the court process to force it. We have a proposition on the state ballot that, of course, provides for that. But we have additional tools through our municipal code, regardless of what the ballot measure does at the state level. And we do effectively enforce our municipal code here in the city, I'm very proud to say. And this ordinance would allow us to continue enforcing with great effectiveness where necessary. Again, with the goal, like we did in this one case we had to prosecute, we used this to put this person into mandated housing and mental health treatment. Very happy to say that after a number of years of 60-something police contacts with her in which she declined services, her even being assaulted on the street, that's something that's not often thought about, is that these folks are often victims of crimes too, and living through the heat and the cold, that for the last several years she's not been on the street. It worked. We broke the cycle, and I'm extremely happy about that, proud to be part of the city for that. So with that in mind, staff brings this to the council for consideration. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank police department, community development, code enforcement, and of course, our wonderful city clerk, all of whom put in great effort to bring this to the council for your consideration today. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Matt. Prior to questions from council, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, yes, ma'am, come on up.
That information. I've been following that Supreme Court ruling because of my son, and I know it has to be on a public sidewalk or public place. He's under a bridge. But I did read that, they can fine, cite, and arrest them if it comes down to that. And the maximum time of arrest period was 30 days. Am I correct on that?
Go ahead, Matt, answer.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, under the municipal code, which reflects state law, it's a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor is prosecutable by up to 6 months in jail, a $1,000 fine. Our goal, however, is to use the process to force them into housing and mental health treatment. The fines, they're not effective for the obvious reasons that you pointed out. The jail time is really the option instead of going to mental health treatment. But dollars to donuts, we are seeking mental health, housing, and forcing that through the criminal process. Because you're right, a lot of times care court will not be eligible.
Right.
Sometimes it will. I do have cases like that. However, we're seeking the housing. And I'd like to think that in your son's case, that we'd be able to offer him that help where it's not been offered.
It's a fine line, but that was a great presentation. Thank you for having this tonight.
You're welcome,
Thank you.
Joanne.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else in the audience have a question or a comment? Council comments or questions? No? Okay, then we need a motion and a second, please, to approve item number 11. We have a motion from Councilman Flores, second from Mayor Pro Tem Comstock. If our city attorney will read the ordinance, then we will vote.
Thank you, Mayor. I was confident you'd remember. Before the council is ordinance number 2024-009, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Chino, County of San Bernardino, California, amending Chino Municipal Code, Chapter 8.80, regulating public camping and public storage of personal property to address changes in law brought about by City of Grants Pass, Oregon versus Johnson et al. That concludes the title of the ordinance.
Thank you very much, and please vote. And it does pass unanimously. Item number 12, introduction of ordinance number 2024-010, amending Chapter 2.36 to add City of Chino Planning Commission sphere of influence members. This item is to approve the introduction of the ordinance to be read by number and title only and waive further reading of the ordinance. Staff report this evening will be provided by our city attorney, Fred Galante, and our Director of Development Services, Warren Morleone.
Thank you, Mayor and Council and all those present. At the September 10th City Council workshop, the staff and myself, we presented a draft ordinance to the City Council consistent with direction you had provided a previous workshop on April 9th regarding the Planning Commission participation, and namely including members of the sphere of influence surrounding the city as members of the Planning Commission. Based on that direction by the council, we prepare the proposed ordinance that is before you, which contains the following key points. Number one sphere of influence member is to be appointed from each sphere of influence area that surrounds the city, namely the north sphere of influence and the south. The council further clarified that a planning commissioner from the sphere is not mandatory. The participation and appointment is not mandatory, and the position is allowed to be vacant if no one applies or is appointed. The sphere of influence member serves a term of 2 years, and once the particular area where that member lives is annexed, then that term would cease automatically. Number three, the sphere of influence members will serve in a voting capacity. The council agreed that the member would be allowed to vote, and would vote on matters pertaining to any property that impacts the actual sphere of influence. The vote would apply so that each member would vote on their respective sphere of influence area. However, should there be a conflict, either one could participate in lieu of the other. As far as the scope of the areas that the member would participate in, the council clarified that they wanted to limit it to the areas that impact the actual sphere. So once we analyzed council's direction, we discovered that there are 3 and potentially more, but the 3 areas that in conversations with staff would likely come up would be an actual pre-zoning application that impacts the sphere of influence, any general plan, sphere of influence, master plan consideration, as well as potentially any mitigation measures that are imposed on properties and projects within the city that impact the sphere of influence. So potentially the areas that the particular sphere of influence member would participate in are somewhat limited, but at least those 3 areas would apply. With that, the ordinance is before you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Fred. Let's see. Prior to questions of staff for council comments, I'd like to ask if there's anyone in the audience that would like to address the council. Okay, seeing none, we'll go on and have council discussion.
I can start now.
Okay, Karen?
Thank you, Fred. I would also like to clarify a couple things for the public, although I know the answers, is could you explain, once a person were represented on the sphere, should they become annexed, what will happen to that person who is on that sphere of influence, the commission?
Thank you for the question, Mayor Pro Tem. So the way the ordinance is written is that that person would, that seat would be vacated, essentially. It would terminate, but the member would be free and welcome to apply as a full-fledged planning commission member and resident of the city.
As well as if we don't have any interest in the, what we would call the central sphere or the northern sphere, what happens if we don't have anybody apply or have any interest in that?
So the council can always seek additional applications, but could certainly just simply leave that position vacant.
Yeah, we clearly stated if we didn't have it, we would leave it vacant.
Correct.
As well as I think the legislative intent in this is, there's a lot of activity in our central and northern sphere now. And we've talked in great length about this, about it being different, moving forward with the development activity and the things that are coming into our city. I think it's important for our neighbors to be a good neighbor to them. In fact, in my closing council comments tonight, I met with a council member from the city of Pomona. What we're trying to accomplish is to have a point of contact for people that live in the sphere, to have a point of contact so that they can be represented here and have input into concerns that they have about the development of that area, in consideration for them coming into the city, whatever the development issue is. And that's also the reason we restricted the voting to the council to that specific area. We also agreed that it wouldn't be prudent for somebody outside of the city of Chino to have full voting powers to the planning commission on other subjects that were specifically inside the city. So I hope this, because of the activity and because of what's happening in our sphere of influence, I hope that this is helpful to our neighbors, to our council, and to our planning commission as well, to help give them understanding as to what some of our neighbors are facing during the annexation process. So that concludes my questions and comments tonight, Fred. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Councilman Burton, you have any comments?
I just want to clarify, Fred, that their voting abilities and powers only are within the sphere that any new building projects that go on, that would be the only thing that they can vote on. Nothing within the city itself.
So thank you for the question, council member. It would only apply to areas within the sphere, but I should clarify, based on your example, the city does not permit any uses or structures or facilities outside of the jurisdiction of the city. What the city does do is pre-zone areas within the sphere. So before the city formally annexes a certain part of the sphere or the entire area of the sphere, it has to pre-zone it. So analyze what the uses are and create zoning districts for those uses, generally consistent with what is existing out there in the county as far as allowable uses and zones. So that would be one area, the pre-zoning. The other area would be master planning, the sphere of influence area. There could be a scenario where certain projects do have mitigation measures that require the county, for example, to implement certain actions as part of those mitigation measures. They could probably weigh in. Not sure if a formal vote would ever be relevant, but so those are the particular areas, but nothing really within the jurisdiction of the city.
Great. Thank you, Fred.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, then I would entertain a motion and a second for item number 12. Okay, there's a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Comstock, second from Councilman Burton. I'll ask our attorney to read the ordinance prior to a vote.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council has placed a vote for passage of the following ordinance to be read by title only and waive further reading. The ordinance is ordinance number 2024-010, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Chino, California, amending Chapter 2.36 Planning Commission to provide for the addition of 2 members of the Chino Planning Commission from the city's sphere of influence and to provide such members voting and advisory powers as defined therein. That concludes the reading.
Thank you very much. Please vote. The item passes 4 yes, 1 no, being Councilman Flores. Okay, next on the council agenda is mayor and council reports. I'll quickly go over my activities since our last council meeting. On Thursday, September 19th, I attended the Water Facilities Authority Board of Directors, and then that evening, the 75th anniversary of Chino Basin Water Conservation District. Friday the 20th, our Public Works Director, Hyjin Lee, and I attended the Mobility 21 conference. Very, very interesting, especially the information about the dilemma of the new fueling systems now that are coming on board. Electricity, of course, which we've already heard of, and then the CNG, which is not as common as hydrogen. They're coming up with hydrogen now. And then the dilemmas that's going to create, of course, with our gas tax. So it's going to be interesting to see how these mandates, how legislature gets around loss of revenue. Saturday the 21st, I, along with Councilman Flores and Councilman Burton, attended the 20th anniversary of Healthy Chino that was held at Liberty Park. That was fun. Thursday the 26th, I attended the Chino DeSalter Authority Finance Committee. And then just Sunday the 29th, I attended the Eagle Scout ceremony for Josiah Alvarado from Troop 3993. Those are always really nice events to go to. And that troop has 9 adult men that are counselors to the boys, and it's a really strong, strong troop. I'm really impressed with the kids that are in that Boy Scout troop. Very, very strong individuals, and the dads that are involved are just incredible. Some retired police, fire professionals, and they're just giving the kids such good counsel. And then, of course, today prior to the council meeting, we had closed session. Mayor Pro Tem Comstock, your report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. On September 18th, I attended the State of the County with Councilmember Burton and our staff out at the Ontario Convention Center. On September 23rd, I attended the Community Services Commission meeting here in the council chambers. And on September 30th, I attended my one-on-one with the city manager and staff. And on the same day, I also met with Councilmember Garcia from the city of Pomona regarding good neighbor issues, essentially development, truck routes, and some of the development that is coming into the city of Chino. Councilmember Burton was also present with me for that meeting. It was actually a very constructive meeting. I look forward to some of the follow-up meetings that we intend to have with our city manager, theirs, and some of their staff after they get some work done for us to bring back to us. Mayor, tomorrow is my sister's birthday, and it's a month of celebration for my family. My parents are actually celebrating 50 years of marriage, so we're going to be celebrating with them at the end of this month. It's a great milestone for them. We're very happy for them. We're looking forward to celebrating with them as a family. You know, I also love a good cause, and one of the things I love about the city of Chino is there's tons of good causes here. I would say, almost like you say with Housing Mayor, something for everyone that you can become involved with. I want to thank the ladies from Making Strides Against Cancer, you know, Janet Howell today and her team for being here. I'm actually going to be playing in a tennis tournament this weekend in Newport Beach called Just Cure It, and it's, all the proceeds will go to breast cancer research and prevention. I want to also thank the nurses here. I almost didn't recognize a partner from the ER for a long time that I did a lot of good work with. Thank you for your service to our community over at Chino Valley Community Hospital. We're grateful for you. We're grateful to have a local community hospital in our city. It's definitely a gem. A lot of communities don't have hospitals, and we're grateful to have one in our community. I also, on Saturday, October 5th at 6 p.m., the Optimus International, the Chino Valley, will be having an annual fundraiser and a hoedown event. It's a country western theme kind of dance with barbecue and good food being provided by Boys Republic. Stop, Kurt. At the American Legion Hall, located at 13759 Central Avenue. Tickets are still for sale, starts at 6 p.m. Come out for a good time if you're interested in some line dancing and some good country theme fun. And certainly, last but not least, I want to thank Joanne for sharing your testimonial tonight. It's compelling, and I'm sorry that your family is actually going through this, but it's going to take people like you that have the courage to come up here and encourage other voters to talk about the importance of this proposition that is going to be impactful to helping us get people the help that we want. I think our special prosecutor, Matt Silver, nailed it. We're not interested in mass incarcerating people, but we're interested in holding people accountable and not being cruelly compassionate and letting people exist homeless in this perpetual state of addiction, homelessness, and mental health crisis. That is horrible that after so many offenses that we can't help mandate people get help because we know help doesn't always come for addiction or mental health on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 15th, 20th, sometimes touch. Sometimes it takes as many as 50 or 60. So Joanne, again, thank you for sharing your family's experience, strength, and hope in this. And I pray that this will pass and that we can help get your son the help that he needs. That brings me to tonight for closed session, Mayor. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Karen. Councilman Burton, you have item number 13.
Yes, I do, and I'd like to ask for the council support, the Community Support Fund for St. Margaret Mary School, please.
Okay, we need a motion and a second, please. Motion from Councilman Flores, second from Councilman Lucio. Please vote. And your item passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor. On the 18th, I attended a meeting with a resident here in town in reference to some issues regarding Omnitrans bus stop and trash cans that were overfilled, and I believe that we were able to resolve that with staff. So thank you to our staff. I also attended the 2024 State of the County. On the 19th, I met with staff and Councilman Flores in reference to our Housing Committee meeting on that date. And then I attended the Chino Valley Unified School District Board meeting that evening. On the 21st, I attended the 20-year anniversary for Healthy Chino, and I attended, Mayor, I'm not too sure, I attended that function with you and Councilman Lucio. I don't know where Councilman Flores was on that.
You're right. I was wrong about that.
But
I apologize.
I remember that he was there. I was actually wondering where Councilman Flores was, but.
Yeah, Chris, where were you? Sorry, Mark.
On the 23rd,
And your dogs, don't forget, you brought your
I
dogs.
did bring my dogs, Violet and Scarlet, and they were awesome. Healthy Chino, I'm sorry, and then my one-on-one with the city manager on the 23rd. On the 30th, I had a meeting with Mayor Pro Tem, staff, and again, Councilmember Garcia from the city of Pomona in reference to truck traffic and issues over on our western border. It's a lot of different types of activity that go on out there on our western border and Pomona's eastern border. And as everybody knows, that's the San Bernardino and Los Angeles County line out there. So when the lines were drawn originally, it was pretty clear, but there were no buildings there back in those days. And when they did that and they began to build, they built across lines, which now makes it very difficult for entities in San Bernardino and also Los Angeles County to get any work done because everybody has to get authority and permissions from the powers to be, and that's going through a lot of red tape. So I appreciate Councilmember Garcia coming in and meeting with us, and we're going to try to get this resolved. Maybe get some lines redrawn. I'm not sure if we can do that, but I know that Warren is looking into that as well. We also, I had another one-on-one with the city manager. Today was we had closed session. And I'd also like to thank you, Joanne, for coming in and supporting Prop 36 and discussing your son. And I have a brother that suffers from that as well. And it's very, very, very difficult. And you know, you don't know from day to day where they're going to be. You just want to make sure that they're safe. And, you know, if they're incarcerated, at least you know where they're at. And that hopefully they're getting the help that they need. But thank you very much for coming in and sharing your story with us. And then lastly, San Bernardino County Registrar of Voters are looking for volunteers in the city of Chino as poll workers. So if you're interested in being a poll worker and getting out there and getting involved as a volunteer, please, they've asked me to make the announcement, go onto their website, get the information, and get out there and assist. We all talk about it, we all gripe about it sometimes, but darn it, go out and volunteer if you can, if you've got the time to do it. I know that they'd appreciate it in the long run. We're all going to appreciate it too. So thank you very much, Mayor, and that's all I have.
All righty, Councilman Flores, you have item number 14.
I do, thank you, Mayor. Item number 14 is I'm asking for approval of community support contribution funds of $500 to Adrian's World, Behavior Highway, Autism Society, Inland Empire, who were the three key nonprofits who helped us with our recent inclusion community event that we held here at city properties, and $500 to the Food for Life Ministry as well.
Okay, we need a motion and a second. We have Mayor Pro Tem Comstock made the motion, second from Councilman Burton. Please vote. Item passes unanimously. Your report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So on the 19th of September, I attended the Housing Committee meeting with Councilmember Burton and our staff as well to talk about some rehab projects and some possible city rental programs and collaborations. Later that evening, I attended with the mayor and along with some members of our staff, the Chino Basin Water Conservation 75th year anniversary. It was a great one. It's been a long 75 years, and they do a lot of great work out there, and so we look forward to another 75 years there. To the Miss Joanne Jennis, thank you for coming out and sharing your testimony, and that what they call the parental tough love is needed, and so thank you for sharing that and doing that. To the Chino Valley Medical Hospital, thank you for coming out tonight, and thank you for your partnership with with our Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce as well and our leadership collaborative out there. I know you guys have given some of our leaders from the collaborative group out there tours and things of that nature, and you guys have answered a lot of questions. And again, thank you for the partnership there, and we look forward to keeping that strong. And a couple other things I want to mention. So before every council meeting, we receive these some updates, and I'm reading through this, and I haven't heard about this until now, so I just kind of want to report on this, and it's the Save Station Tower that's going to be placed at Ruben S. Ayala Park. So if I can read this quickly, the Chino Valley Fire Foundation approached the city about installing a freestanding Save Station Tower equipped with an automated external defibrillator, AED, at Ruben S. Ayala Park. The tower will be located adjacent to the restroom west of the stadium and south of the YMCA parking lot. The installation of the Safe Station is made possible through the Chino Valley Fire Foundation and the H&H Lee Foundations. An unveiling and ribbon-cutting ceremony for the Safe Station Tower will be scheduled in late fall in collaboration with the Chino Valley Fire District and the city. I'm just happy to hear that, just because we do host a lot of events down there. Our Halloween event, for example, that's coming up, that area is heavily used, and so to have something like that down there, I think is forward-thinking. So thank you to the Chino Valley Fire Foundation and to the district for that. And the last thing I want to mention, Mayor, is our Community Cleanup Day, October 12th. I strongly urge just the volunteers, and more than that, I think, in living in the downtown area and just riding my skateboard and bike up and down our alleyways sometimes, I'm really just kind of just hurt and disappointed sometimes at just seeing all the trash out there. And I know most of that is not driven by maybe our local property owners. A lot of that is illegal dumping as well. But if we can just be vigilant out there and report when we see illegal dumping happening, and to our residents, particularly in the downtown area, again, I would just encourage you to, again, be our eyes out there and, do your best to not illegally dump out there. And but again, that concludes my comments, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Councilman Lucio.
Yes, on 9/21, I attended Healthy Chino's 20th year anniversary at Liberty Park. On the 24th, I attended the Inland Empire Latino Economic and Policy Summit. And there they went over that California is the 5th largest economy in the world, but they said that one of the driving forces is the Inland Empire, which encompasses San Bernardino County and Riverside County. And if it wasn't for those two counties with the manufacturing and the trucking and the commerce that comes through here, California wouldn't be in the position that it's at. It's also the second largest that's in the nation that's seen job growth. So the empire is booming and growing, and everything that they see is that it's going to continue. So because of that, we don't want to let everybody forget, especially our legislators, that we're a big part of the economic boom here in California. On the 24th, I had a meeting with the city manager, and on the 29th through today, I flew to Washington, D.C., and I had a couple meetings with representatives from Senator Padilla's office. I met with Andrew Barat. He's the Appropriations Transportation Legislative Assistant. I discussed with him the importance of getting Pine Avenue, the connector, done. I also talked to him about the bridge at Euclid Avenue. I told him that we're actively still trying to get the Olympics here at Prado Park. He shared with us that if we're able to get the Olympics, they've set aside $200 million for infrastructure to help. If there's for example, because Pine Avenue is only one lane in each direction, that if we were to secure it, we could probably secure some of that money to help build that bridge. We also talked a little bit about FEMA grants. Of course, we're in dire need of our
Hazard mitigation.
our hazard mitigation plan because of the expiration. But he says once we get that, we can definitely apply for what he called brick grants through FEMA, so that we could fix the flooding issues down there. I talked to him about the storm drain project that also is taking place on Euclid Avenue. They said that they would give us letters of support if we started applying for grants. They would definitely support us. And I also wanted to put in his ear that because of the commerce that's coming in as a result of Ontario growing, us still continuing to grow, and the fact that within a 10-mile radius we have 4 million people that reside here, that it's important to get those projects done to be able to move our commerce through. I also met with Norma Torres' staff, Sylvia Reyes, who is the water legislative assistant, and my conversations with her we're primarily with the unincorporated areas, which is our sphere of influence on the north side and the west side. And we talked about the fact that we have over 1,100 residents that are on septic tanks. We have 300 in the city of Chino alone that are also on septic tanks. And Ms. Reyes is currently working on a bill right now to allow the EPA to help fund the connection between the main lines and the residents being able to hook up, because she knows that a lot of people don't hook up even though they may have the lines next to them because it costs about $40,000. So they're currently working on a bill to get that done. She also says that because our congresswoman her home is not a septic tank, she's very receptive to helping us get some funding for the unincorporated areas to be able to connect sewer systems and to bring the main lines in. So they said that they're very interested in trying to help us out and hopefully help us to secure some funding. So although they're not annexed into our areas as of yet, one of the major reasons is it just costs so much to bring those types of services to them. So it would make it a lot easier if those services, somehow we were able to get them done, and then it would make it easier for us to incorporate them so that we didn't have to absorb all the cost ourselves. I also met with Senator Butler's staff, Alex Baldonado, and unfortunately for him, as soon as the election is certified in California, so at the end of November, they're looking at the election being certified, then immediately whoever wins, either Adam Schiff or Steve Garvey, they would immediately take office. But he listened to some of our requests. He said he would mention it to Senator Butler, but the reality is she probably won't be around past November. So, but he also, we talked about FEMA grants and BRIC grants, and we told him about the importance of getting those projects done. We also talked to him about transitional housing, so they were interested in helping us out there. And then I also mentioned to them, all three of them, that we just secured the ability to take over Fred G. Stark, and that it's 140 acres and some of the things that we want. We want to do some of affordable housing, we want to do some commercial, and we also want to do some agriculture. So they said that there is agricultural grants out there to help fund that. There's also some money in there for housing as well. And we told them we didn't want to deal with the developers that come in and want to build 300 units but give us 10 of them that are low income. We'd rather deal with organizations similar to the ones we visited in Yorba Linda, where they're all affordable, and they come in and they actually want to make an impact on the community as opposed to coming in and want to make a profit. So they were all in favor of all that. They definitely were supportive with everything that we're doing, and they suggested that we come back, or at least somebody comes back and follows up with them in the spring. So whether it's myself or somebody else on the council, but they say the more they see us, the more they won't forget us. So, they say if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So,
It's true.
But to Joanne, thank you for coming. That was another conversation I had with some of the legislators up there, not necessarily these, but that's the big difference between the federal government and our state government. Our federal government, every couple of years, we can have a shift of power. So as a result of that, when they looked in, they started with this whole defunding the police. You've seen that they've all backtracked from that because it was unpopular. You've had people like Maxine Waters, who was a big advocate of defunding the police, just gave a bunch of money to the police. You've seen a bunch of these people, pretend that they didn't say it, or they've changed their mind and now are looking at a different direction. Unfortunately for the state of California, because they have such a supermajority, they see that we're going down the wrong path, but they don't change. And how an organization could run like that, if you had a business and you saw that you changed your model and it wasn't successful, you would then tweak it to see if maybe a couple changes would make it work. But they don't tweak it, they don't fix it, they continue to go on the same direction, and they don't try to provide any type of relief for anybody out there. So fortunately, we have this bill that's going to come up in the November election. I think the last speech I heard, the governor was upset about it because he said it was polling at 70% that it was going to pass, and he couldn't believe that this was occurring. It's occurring because people are upset. People are tired of being victimized. people see that they passed this law that gave nobody any type of help. And I can tell you, as a young police officer, when I first worked the field, I was always in court because of drugs. We were always testifying, making sure that, and they were either given treatment or they went to jail. And most of them chose to go to treatment, and then if they failed so many times, then they ended up going to jail. But there was always some alternative that we gave them to get off of drugs. And unfortunately, that was taken away, and so was theft and a bunch of other things. So hopefully, this gives us the ability to go back to our normal life that we had previous to this. But I appreciate you coming, and thank you for sharing your story. And to the Chino Valley Community Hospital, thank you for what you do. I can tell you that, a couple years ago, my mom got ill, and fortunately, at the time I was working, my wife was able to take her to the hospital, but she always told me how well you guys treated her there. She was always very impressed how attentive you guys were to her. So I truly appreciate the services that you provide our community, and thank you. And that's all I have.
Okay. Well, sadly enough, our governor is more interested in saving money and shutting down prisons and jails than he is in helping our community. So, City Manager Reich, anything this evening?
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a couple things. So did everyone feel the earthquake today?
No.
So somebody is telling us something. So we had our emergency preparedness fair last month. We had 2 earthquakes. October 17th is going to be the great shakeout. So as we're getting ready for these earthquakes keep happening. So I just want to remind our residents, be prepared, get your kits together, get your plan together, because the big earthquake is coming. We've had these little ones that are telling us, get prepared, get ready. So October 17th is a great shakeout at 10:17 in the morning, and we hope you will all get prepared, practice your sheltering in place or your jumping under a table so that we all know what to do. That's the first item. The second one is I want to just thank Senator Rubio, and who authored SB 536 for us, which Councilmember Lucio talked about. It's the relinquishment of Stark to the city of Chino so that we can then develop that property. And then Assemblymember Rodriguez also signed on to that bill. This was a 2-year bill that went through the legislature. It was signed by the governor last week. So the next phase for us is to start working with the Department of General Services, with the state of California, to negotiate the price for the property. So I also want to thank the council for your courage and your leadership as we went through this process, because there are not very many large pieces of land left in our city that we can take control of, and we can decide what the destiny of that piece of property is going to be. So we look forward to what happens now in the future, and we'll definitely keep you posted. Thank you, Mayor.
City Attorney Galante.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to highlight a recently signed piece of legislation. I know the city has discussed this in its legislative platform. It's SB 98 that addresses warehouse and logistics uses. It was announced on Sunday last weekend, September 29th, that the governor signed the bill. The ultimate bill that was signed has later timelines for its implementation and effectiveness, but just some highlights, since it does impact Chino, and it highlights certain standards that apply to the counties of Riverside and San Bernardino, and including Chino, and names Chino in the bill, as well as several other jurisdictions. It prescribes design and building standards for these type of warehouse and logistics uses that are more conducive to environmentally sensitive and green building type standards. It also requires significant buffering of sensitive receptors as they're defined in the bill. It will essentially impose pretty significant new design standards on developers, but also on the city's obligation to chart for truck routes that these particular users can follow, the trucks that serve these users. And if the city doesn't implement that new circulation element that meets the requirements of SB 98, penalties will be imposed. Luckily, some of the timelines were extended, so the timeline for cities to do that is January 2028, but some of the other requirements apply January 1, 2026, that the developers will have to address. So fairly significant legislation and sort of a one-of-a-kind addressing development standards of warehousing. So happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Fred? Okay, Deputy Chief Murata.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. So I have two events that I just wanted to touch on tonight and let the public be made aware of. So tomorrow is National Coffee with a Cop Day. We'll be hosting it at Flo's Airport Cafe from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. We're hoping for a great turnout down there, not only for the Coffee with a Cop, but also to help support such a great institution and local business in the city of Chino. It's a great opportunity for members of the community to connect to our police officers, ask questions, and share any concerns. So that's tomorrow from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. The second one, which council members should have a red flag report on this, but it's our country campout event weekend. It's on November 1st through November 3rd at Prado Park. We had one last year. This is the second time that we're having this in our city. Friday will be a minimal amount of attendees there, basically arriving. They're the campers that are going to camp for the entire weekend. The main event is on Saturday, and the headliner is Chris Young. He goes on stage at 8 p.m., and the event is over at 10 p.m. There'll be 28 security guards there, 9 of our police officers to make sure that traffic flow is good and protect the interior as well. We had an event last year with the same host that was there, and we had 0 issues down there. So we're hoping for another safe and fun event for the community, and that will be November 1st through the 3rd. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much, Nick. Any of our directors have reports this evening? Hygen Lee.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I love all the updates that I heard. You guys are all talking something that I'm passionate about, infrastructure. So thank you so much for advocating for infrastructure in the city of Chino. I have a really quick update about what's going on in Ramona. We got a couple of inquiries from our residents who live on Ramona and the community just adjacent to it. I know we got a couple inquiries, whether are we done? Why is the road still rough? We're not done yet. As council approved the contract change order to Hardy and Harper last council meeting, our staff met with Hardy and Harper to plan out what we're going to do, and we are going to start constructing a new pavement on October 14th. So starting next week, on Monday, they're going to be putting out message board to let everybody know. They'll have two message board, one on Chino and one on Schaefer. And the paving operation will take approximately 1 week, and then on the second week, we'll be installing traffic loops and striping. So after that, we will have a brand new pavement from Chino to Schaefer, and we're happy to present that to the community.
Thank you, Hygen.
Yes, thank you.
Chief Williams.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, and community members. I just wanted to invite the City Council and community to attend the Fire District's annual open house this coming Saturday at 5092 Schaefer Avenue in the city of Chino. It'll be from 9 to noon. Come out and tour the fire station, watch live demonstrations, and meet with our firefighter paramedics, and just have a good time. So we're super excited. It's a good time for the young ones to come out and see everything that's going on. And if you're a curious adult by any means, you can come out and take a look at all the stuff we have going. Also, we do have our State of the District coming up. It's going to be October 24th, Fire Station 61. Tickets can be purchased online at chinofirefoundation.com, or you can call the district at 909-315-8801. The theme of this year is a barbecue theme. As I know all of you know, Ms. Pro, she's put together a really good event for us, and so we're super excited to invite you all. And I just did want to, I did want to recognize all of our first responders, to include both law enforcement and our fire suppression personnel. The winds are picking up again. It's going to heat up through the week. community members, please be mindful that although those fires are out right now currently in Angeles Oaks, that those can impact all of us. The heat is coming up, the wind's picking up. We do have several resources out at that fire. It's making a slight run, as I understand, up through Angeles Oaks, up to the backside of Snow Summit. There are some conferences that I was aware of that are already been canceled for this coming weekend. So if you have something going on up there, you might want to check your agendas and see what's happening. But just the more folks can stay out of the way and allow us to do our work, the easier it becomes for us. And so I did want to say thank you to all of our staff. We do remain fully staffed in here locally, but we do have several resources up on the mountain.
Dave, did it just flare up again, or is it a brand-new start?
No, they flare up. So, I mean, you can imagine when these fires get that big, there's a lot of, think about the simple campfire you have, and you think you go to bed in your camper and you get up and the thing's lit up again. So these things get deep-seated in areas that we don't quite see necessarily, or resources haven't been able to get to. But with a little bit of heat and a little bit of wind just kind of fanning it, they can take back off. So, when you hear fires talk about containment, we try to approach those super conservatively, because what we do know is that things can change with a slight change in either wind, heat, and sometimes topography. If something gets seated down low and it has enough vegetation and the winds come up behind it and can push it up a hill, it gets taken off pretty quick. So we're always very conservative when we talk about containment. 100% containment for us means that we've went around the entire fire, all the way around the perimeter, and we've made it black. And that's a very, very time-intensive, crew-intensive, especially when you get into topography that has hills. It's hard to get to those sometimes. And just imagine you could have a hot rock roll off of a hill where down below there was no issue, but a hot rock that had fire on it roll down below and land in some new grass, and then we're back off to the races.
Are there structures in danger with this one? Right now?
I don't have those details right now. I do know that there are some additional requests to help evacuate potentially the hospitals again, as I think I had mentioned last council meeting, that we did stand up we had a request from the county to stand up an ambulance, quote unquote, strike team to assist primarily with the evacuation of the hospital. But there are lots of folks that live up there that are older, and some of them, just as an example, may be on oxygen or bedridden. And so those folks can't be there on their own. So they need assistance getting off the hill. They may not have a lot of family members, or maybe they have to be laying down to actually be moved. They can't sit in a car. So we have those kinds of challenges, then we have to meet that where it's at. So just be diligent, pay attention to the weather conditions, and again, check your schedules for if you're doing any kind of recreation up on the hill, and make good decisions to either go or not go.
Well, I hope all the firefighters stay safe. And you just had to rub it in about Rita, didn't you?
That was a way to say thank you very much for supporting the fire district, ma'am.
Yes, got it, Dave. Okay, with that, we will adjourn. Our next meeting of the council will be a study session held on Tuesday, October 8th at 6 p.m. Our next regular meeting of the council will be held on Tuesday, October 15th at 6 p.m. with closed session starting no earlier than 4 if needed. With that, we are adjourned.